Hello YouTube, welcome to the Project YouTube channel. My name is Robin and today I will be showing off my Path of Exile build. The build is called Ingiter of Agony. I am a level 92 Scion in the Hardcore Betrayal League. First I'll show off a bit of gameplay. This Dark Forest map should be a pretty hard map. I might not fully clear it, I just want to show the clear speed and the bossing capabilities. Okay. Oh, nice. I will definitely fully clear this one after the video, because I have still fight 3 times. Yeah, I'll explain most of the build after the gameplay. Oh. As you can already see, this build is really tanky. It seems like I'm not really taking a lot of damage, but keep in mind. Oh, Howler influenced as well. That's pretty nice. That seems slow, but those things are really tanky. So as you can see, I have more than 10k life at the moment. I might not be clearing super good right now. Yeah, that's one of the negative points of the build. If you go to packs that are too big, oh, that's a beyond boss, I should be careful. If you go to packs that are too big, you might lag a little. Right now for me it's... Look, I wasn't even paying attention and the beyond boss died. I didn't even see him, to be honest. I was here and I saw some... yeah, well, whatever. So one of the negative points of the build is that he's... well, damn it. I'm going to have to take that trade. One of the negative points of the build is that it can get a bit laggy, and normally it's not that big of a deal, as long as you don't lag in boss rooms, which doesn't happen. Right now it looked extra laggy, but that's also because I'm recording, so don't pay too much attention to that. In one of my previous video build showcases, I skipped the Syndicate, so I'm not going to skip it this time on purpose. And remind you, this is a tier 40 map with pretty hard mods in hardcore, so this is just to show that this build can also really take syndicates. Okay. I'm really going to look to well at what syndicates actually give really good experience. Yeah, okay, let's go do the double Rickwell boss. I will have to be careful of bleeding. That's the most important thing. I don't want to die for a showcase video. That would be really stupid. So this is double Rickwell boss. Right now, when he's in this dog form, oh, that was scary. I'll be honest with you. Whew. Okay, I might have to TP out here. I could have picked a safer map to showcase, to be honest. As you can see, the barrage thingy is no problem at all. It's just the bleeding that I have to be careful of. Okay, that's... Don't know if that's both of them died. I think so. That was a pretty dangerous build showcase. Anyways, most builds have to be really careful in that map, and I tanked most of it. I'll show a bit more of map clear, I guess. Oh, there's another Wriggle still alive. Okay. Voila. And some more clear. I don't like these portals being in the video, because it seems slow, but they are always really tanky, so... This is a pretty chill build to play. I have to pay attention to flasks mostly, and just cycloning through things. My Herald of Agony takes care of most of the other stuff. Oh, perfect. Here's my third sulfide. Nice. Alright. I'm a bit disappointed with how the bossing turned out, because most bosses I can just face tank without my HP moving, but because this was a double wriggled with extra speed, the bleeding was a bit... This was a beyond boss, I think. The bleeding was a bit, yeah, dangerous, but oh well. I think it's pretty clear that this build is tanky, and that's mainly what I want to show off, because a friend of mine asked for a tanky build. I'm just going to show him this. So. Okay, after this portal I'm going to town, and I'll explain a build. That was not the best gameplay, even with a sail in the middle, but I guess I just mainly want to show off how the build works. So, the main idea of the build is igniting a lot for defense. How do we achieve this defense? That is the mod of this unique sword, Razor of the Seventh Sun. You recover 1% of maximum life when you ignite an enemy. So igniting a lot is really good for our defense, and as you can see we have 10.4k HP, so every time we ignite we actually gain a little over 100 life. And for offense we use we have to poison a lot for our Herald of Agony. That's our main DPS source. It's a minion. Reserve lives, that's a minion that reserves life. And how do we poison a lot? We cyclone through things, and our cyclone is linked to poison, but also with a cast when damage taken loop. I'll quickly show off the loop in Blood Aqueducts. Okay, so I'm not going to attack anything, I'm just going to show what happens when I take damage. Okay, so that happens. When I take damage, cast on damage taken, there's a Stormbrand and a Ball Lightning that get cast, and those two are linked to the Poison Gem. Now of course Ball Lightning deals lightning damage, so to actually poison with Ball Lightning and Stormbrand we use Herald of Purity as well for the added physical damage, which can poison. And then another mod of Razor of the Seventh Sun is convert physical damage to fire damage. So the added physical damage from the Herald of Purity also gets converted to a little bit of fire damage for extra ignites, for extra defense. So Herald of Purity should be sufficient for igniting and poisoning, but I personally prefer actually using jewels with extra fire damage to spells, like this one in my belt, and jewels with extra physical and extra chaos damage to spells, just to make sure when you meet an enemy with high fire res or a big amount of armor that you still poison and ignite consistently. You don't have to though, but it's something that I like and suggest. What I haven't told yet is the helm is crafted with an essence of hysteria, so anything put in this helm actually has 50% chance to ignite. So our Stormbrand and Ball Lightning actually ignite a lot, and for the cost and damage taken loop to actually work, when we ignite we take 100 fire damage. So these two actually have really nice synergy. So I take damage, I cast Ball Lightning and Stormbrand, and those ignite and poison. Poison for the Herald of Agony, igniting for the defense. And because they ignite, I also take damage, and I might get another proc of the cost and damage taken off. So these two make sure I poison and ignite very consistently. It's together with my Cyclone. The Herald of Agony is linked with minion damage and damage on full life in the Vix Lunaris shield. That's only a 3 link for our main source of damage, but +2 levels is very important for Herald of Agony. That's why it's in the shield. So the core items are Razor of the Seventh Sun, Hysteria Helmet, Eye of Innocence, and Vix Lunaris. And also a really recommended item is Forbidden Taste, because this flask is an instant 10k life flask with this build, so that's really good. This build was actually sort of a meme project, so it was meant to be just a super tanky build. I wasn't even looking at clearing decently, but all of that changed once I discovered projectile weakness with this build. So this cast when damage taken level 1 and projectile weakness level 5 with an increased area of effect. This makes the build work. If not, the Herald of Agony would clear super slow, but thanks to projectile weakness, proccing off on every pack, it actually clears very decently considering how tanky we are. The build is actually really cheap. Of course, I've played it for a long time. I am level 92 now, so I've mapped a lot. I've done a lot of bosses and stuff, so I've had room for expensive improvements. But until like level 85, I actually used this body armor. This body armor only cost me 2 chaos orbs, so you can perfectly, as you can see, it's still really tanky, almost 9k life with a 2c body armor. For the Cyclone links, I recommend using Withering Touch, Maim, Combustion, and then, thanks to these gloves, Poison and faster attacks. You can use, you don't have to make it a 6 link. You can drop faster attacks, you can drop Combustion, you can drop Maim, you can drop Withering Touch. It can be a 4 link, 5 link or 6 link, whatever you want. It's just a 6 link now because I really like to upgrade this build. But up until level 85 it was just a 5 link. I think I didn't use Withering Touch back then. Quickly going to do this sale. I am like the most half-assed YouTuber, but whatever. I just want to share my build so that other people can also enjoy it. So up until level 85 I used this 5-link. Cyclone totally doesn't need to be a 6-link, it can perfectly be a 4-link. I just upgraded to Calm's Heart because I really like extra defense, and it appeared that I could make 6-link gloves, so this worked out perfectly for me. And then another suggestion, so Cyclone, yeah, just make the Cyclone useful. That's all I can say. Doesn't have to be a 6-link, doesn't have to be a 5-link. And another suggestion, just like Cyclone, is the Betrayal mod for a flask. 3% life regen is really strong when you have a lot of life. So for me this is more than 300 life per second. I haven't tested it yet, but a friend of mine said it doesn't stack, so just one flask with 3% regen is perfect. If you would have two, it probably will still only regen 3%. Next up I will talk about my ascendancies. So I am a Scion, I chose Juggernaut, and I chose Champion. Why did I do those? Juggernaut cannot be chilled. It's actually way nicer than I thought at first. Cannot be chilled, it's pretty underrated. Cannot be stunned, it's really nice. We can also not be stunned during our Cyclone, but still permanently not being able to get stunned, it's really nice. And then the last mod, gain an endurance charge every second you've been hit recently. This is a pretty epic mod on itself, but for this build it's it's super freaking nice, because what happens, you don't only get hit by the monsters, you also get hit by your Eye of Innocence. Each time you ignite, you hit yourself with 100 fire damage. So even if you dodge, let's say you're in a boss fight and you dodge every single one of his hits, in any other build you wouldn't be getting endurance charges. But with this build, as long as you're damaging the monsters, or so as long as you're igniting, damaging them, and hence igniting them, or taking damage, basically while you are in combat you are always gaining 1 endurance charge every second, which is really nice. And then together with the fact that you're damaging yourself constantly, our cast on damage taken Immortal Call is going off a lot, really a lot. That's why I was daring to do this double rig build and just face tanking him, not fleeing for the wolves, because I have such a long uptime of Immortal Call that makes the bleed deal 0 damage. So the only small panic moment I had in the map was when my Immortal Call wasn't going off and I had some trouble with my anti-bleed flask. It was a little scare moment, but yeah, it can tank a lot, and that's all thanks to this Juggernaut point. I also took Champion because of 3 reasons. You get a free Fortify link on your Cyclone. 10% seems little, but as you could see in the video, my Fortify had a really nice uptime, so a free Fortify link. And then the others are to boost the damage of the Herald of Agony. Our Herald of Agony is our main damage, it's only in a 3 link, but it gets boosted a lot. Here with Champion, your melee hits taunt. That's not only your melee hits, or your Cyclone, your ball lightning, basically everything is taunted, and taunted monsters take 10% increased damage. It's a weird more multiplier, but I'm not going to go in depth about that. And then also, when you hit enemies on full life, you intimidate them to take an additional 10% damage. So that's already 20% more damage on enemies if you hit them before the agony crawler. But in boss rooms, that's most of the time. Next, in our cyclone, the main makes enemies take 14% increased physical damage, also more multiplier. And then the withering touch, every stack of wither makes them take 6% increased chaos damage, and you can have up to 15 stacks, so that's also a debuff. Basically, we get as much poison withering, as much virulence stacks up for Herald of Agony as possible, while actually debuffing the enemies a lot, thanks to champion ascendancy here from Ascendant, thanks to our cyclone debuffs in our links, and yeah, not to forget, projectile weakness not only allows you to pierce enemies, but also debuffs them to take more damage, so it also helps on DPS there. I think I've told most of the things I wanted to tell. In the skill tree, you just focus a lot of life. I passed Resolute Technique, so I thought it was a good idea to take it. You take some minion nodes, some other minion nodes. I really like Anatomical Knowledge, so I have 3 of them. And then for jewels, like I said, some physical chaos and fire damage to spells, life, chance to ignite, maybe a bit of dexterity. That's about it. I think I said everything I wanted about the build. Maybe quickly the strengths and weaknesses. First, the strengths. This build is really tanky. It really loves getting hit a lot, being in the middle of packs. Getting hit a lot, you can trigger your cost when damage taken 4 times every second, which is really nice. You have an automatic long immortal call, and during the immortal call you already get an endurance charge every second again and again. You are stun immune, you are chill immune, freeze immune. You have a 10k life insta flask, it's really nice. You can do endgame content really safely. Yeah, just an overall really good build. Then the weaknesses. First of all, you would think this build is bad in avoid ailment maps and no regen maps, but that's actually pretty okay. In avoid ailment maps, I have found that in the reduced chance to poison, we still poison enough to get a lot of virulence stacks to still clear decently and do a lot of damage. So avoid poison is okay. And in avoid ignite maps, that also works. I mean, we have a lot of life, a lot of regen, good flasks, but to fix avoid ignite maps, so I actually do avoid ignite maps a lot. I have life gain for each enemy hit by your spells on my ring on my rings. So avoid ignite maps I always do. I fix them with these rings, so I actually have no trouble with those at all. For the avoid poison map, if it's like a 90% poison avoidance or really high poison avoidance together with dangerous mods, I might actually avoid the map, but that doesn't happen that often. And then no regen maps are actually okay because of the life gain on ignite and tankiness in general. No regen maps are okay, and to keep on cycloning, I got this 5% damage, 5% of damage taken gained as mana when hit. This makes you actually able to. You will be able to cyclone less, but you will still be able to cyclone through no regen maps. so that's really nice. And then the actual weaknesses of this build, 3 main things you want to avoid. First of all, curse immune maps. When a map is curse immune, your projectile weakness does not work and your Herald of Agony does not pierce, which makes for horrible clear speed. So you really want to avoid curse immune maps. And then next up, you want to avoid 2 bosses, namely Hydra and Phoenix, the 2 tier 16 guardians. I have done Minotaur and Chimera on this build on my own, so those work nicely, but Hydra is poison immune, so you will deal no damage, and Phoenix is really dangerous in general. Even though you have so much life, he can probably still one-shot you if you stay in his melee range on dangerous moments, and he is ignite immune, which means you lose a lot of your defensive mechanics in this build. So I think that's about it mostly. I'll end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. I will put a path of building link in the description so you can see my gear in detail and the skill tree. If you have any questions, post them in the comments on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.